Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. This man, Andy Irvine, is going to cost Celtic $3.5 million from West Ham. Now, Celtic have obviously had dealings with West Ham quite a lot over the last 6 months or so. West Ham having put in a bid of $500,000 for Daniel Cummins back in the last transfer window. 500 grand for the 19-year-old. Celtic knocked it back with Brendan Rodgers deciding to give Daniel Cummins a run out in the Champions League last season. And he said that he was trying to keep him at Celtic, but the deal had already been done, and he was on his way to West Ham. Now, at the beginning of the season, Daniel Cummins has a shoulder injury, and he will not see any first-team action. So it's delaying plans for him getting any first-team squad action. I just don't think it's going to work out for the young lad down there, but we'll wait and see. But Celtic have been looking for a midfielder. And over the summer, we've been linked with various midfielders. One was a 6'4" or 5 French guy, but it looks like we're going to get Andy Irvine. Tell me what you think about the Andy Irvine and the $3.5 million. Is it worth it? And has there been a significant development in his career since he left Heart of Midlothian all those years ago? And does he want to come to Celtic is the main talking point, because it's suggested that he wants to leave West Ham because he's not getting a lot of game time. Where does he fit into the midfield at Celtic? At 25-year-old, it could be the fairy tale ending for him, getting a move to Celtic, getting a 4-year deal at Celtic. That takes him up to his 29, 30. And then you could say he's had a successful career. Celtic keep on winning things. But he's not had that good a time at West Ham. They did buy him for $1.5 million from a feeder club, an Austrian feeder club that they have. Most West Ham fans had never heard of him. They've since christened him the Iron Brew Iniesta. The Iron Brew Iniesta. Do you think Celtic fans would call him that? And where does he fit into the midfield? Unless Celtic are on the verge of maybe releasing Paulo Bernardo, £6 million worth of player sitting on the bench. Can't even get a jump into the team. Talking about that, I think that he will get in the team this weekend. So that's it for Transfer Talk this morning. When it comes to it, Celtic, the next time that we are in league action, we could be 7 points in front of our rivals down in 6th position. Yes, they're currently on 2 points. We're on 6 points. Hearts are at the top of the table. Celtic go into action this weekend in the Premier Sports Cup. And with that being said, the week after, will it have been the correct decision not to postpone the game? Because let's face it, the Rangers have postponed the game, and they will then go into their next league game against Celtic. And Celtic could be 7 points ahead by that time. Beat Rangers and were 10 points ahead before the 1st of September. Absolutely no one would have put on a single penny. You wouldn't have put on a pound to say that Celtic could potentially be 10 points clear of our closest rivals in Scottish football in terms of rivalry. I don't think that they're whatever it is anyway. I just think that it's absolutely hilarious, and it will justify the move by Celtic not to postpone the Livingston game. Because as Brendan Rodgers has said before, points on the table at this time of year, so has Alistair Johnston, come to think about it. He said it in his interview last week that you would rather get the points on the table, because when it comes to the tail end of the season and you start running out a bit of steam, there's if you've got them in the bag, can't be taken away from you, can they? And that's the good thing about it. So with that being said, we do go into the Premier Sports Cup this weekend. It's a nice little deviation from the league, and there'll be lots of changes, I reckon, this weekend for the Premier Sports Cup, due to the fact that there's a lot of players on the sidelines that will need to get as much game time as possible. Brendan Rodgers will want to keep the majority of his first team players nice and fresh for the Champions League travels. Now, when it comes to the Champions League travels, we'll talk about that in a second, because we'll find out in the next 24 hours or so if it's going to be that epic journey. But when it comes to the game this weekend, Celtic will still need to put out a strong squad, because we can all remember what happened with the Falkirk game, the first half in the cup game this time last year. Celtic weren't too clever. Brendan Rodgers wasn't too happy with the players that we put on, and it wasn't really players that should have performed. This time, I think you'll see Arnie Engels get a start. I think you'll see Luke McCowan get a start. I think you'll see Paolo Bernardo all get starts this weekend. And you're thinking to yourself, that's a formidable midfield. But they've all got points to prove as well. They've got points to prove that they should be in the starting 11 going into the Champions League game. This will be the game for players that haven't been getting a starting berth. I mean, will you see the likes of Yang getting moves over for James Forrest again? No, I think James Forrest is your starter for the Champions League game. Whether Yang supporters like that or not, when it comes to the defence, I think that we will see the boy from Man City getting some game time also, just so he starts feeling his way. He could be playing beside Austin Trusty for this game. Shock horror. Where does it leave young Dane Murray? Dane Murray's bound to be sitting thinking, do you know what? It's where does he even try and fit into the team? Where does he get into the team? Does Brendan Rodgers bring him onto the bench this weekend and then bring him off the bench to get some game time? I think Dane Murray is a player that has a career at Celtic. He's one that's came through the system, and we'll wait and see what happens. Maybe he'll end up getting loaned out this season. We never know. But there will be a lot of changes this weekend, that is for sure, as Brendan Rodgers does try to rotate the squad. And then that's it. It's as easy as that. There is another little story going around this morning, which kind of takes off from yesterday's story. And there was a bit of palaver, and I was getting called all sorts because I picked up this from Twitter, from somebody that's got 37,000, saying that Celtic are preparing for Daizen Maeda departure. And then there's also this morning, the Celtic Share website have also put out an article saying strong suggestions. Journalist drops Daizen Maeda Celtic exit hint. Daizen Maeda was the talking point this summer. Will he not sign a new deal? Will his head be turned? Says the Celtic Share article, and I will put a link to it underneath this video. Now, a certain journalist has said that Daizen Maeda could be eyeing a move away from Celtic this summer, despite having 2 years left on his contract. It goes on to say that Brendan Rodgers has been expected to open contract extension talks since the end of last season. We all know how that happened. I mean, Daizen Maeda did say at the end of last season that he wanted to not even talk about contract talks until after the season, till after the Scottish Cup. They haven't been able to tie him down. With only 2 years left on his contract, I don't want him to leave. I'm just reporting what I see out there. I do not want him to leave. So giving personal abuse to me for coming out with the story that I found yesterday online, you know, it is what it is, and I can take it on the chin. Anyway, go and read the Celtic Share website article. I'm sure you'll find that a fantastic read. And I don't want Daizen Maeda to leave, but if it does happen, it's the Celtic way, isn't it? On that note, try and have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.